Hi everyone, Jessica here and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to share with you something a little bit different, and I'm going to show you how to create this mini album. Now I'm really excited about this. Over the last couple of days I have become really obsessed with the YouTube channel May Made It. She is based in America and she creates lots of these different kind of mini album projects and lots of other things as well. And what really drew me in to begin with was the fact that she was using papers. So patterned papers, lots of different paper pads, mainly 12 by 12 inches, but I am really on a quest by the end of the year to really use up most of my patterned paper pads. I've got so many. I've got lots of random ones, 6 by 6, 8 by 8s. I do have a few 12 by 12s, but also a lot of like the Paper Boutique packs as well. So I really want to start using up and really using my stash. So that's really what drew me into her channel to begin with. And then I thought, what a fantastic way of using up one of the Paper Boutique sets that I have got. And we're going to be using the Christmas gnome. And I thought it would just work perfectly with this. And what I'm actually going to do as well is have a little competition, and I'm going to gift off our finished album for you to use this Christmas. So I'll leave a link to May's video. So she makes one of these. I have adjusted the sizes slightly to work with the UK A4 size cardstock. She, for the base, she's using obviously the American version, which is slightly different. So I have changed up the sizes a little bit, but the general idea is very much the same. So I'll link her video in the description box down below, and I will hopefully be able to write out the instructions, the sizes, and the where you're going to score and things as well, so you can check that for reference. So do have a look at the description box down below. You've got some lovely dimension on here, so you're going to be able to add lots of bits and pieces on here for, you know, these can be used for any occasions whatsoever, but you're going to be able to pack quite a lot in here. So to begin with, let's just have a look. This is my prototype, which I'm going to be keeping, and then I'm going to build another one with you here on in this video. What I might potentially do, depending on how long it takes to get through the tutorial for making the actual box as you see it here, I might do a separate video for the decoration. But we'll see how we get on for time. So let me walk you through the box. So first of all, obviously you've got your outside, which we will be decorating as well. You've got your opening flap here. So she had a magnet on here. I have ordered some magnets from Amazon, but for now mine is just going to be sort of left open. You have got a 1-inch gusset along the top here. You've got your back, and then you have your bottom portion as well. So when we open it, let's look at this first panel here. So we have got these two lovely flaps which do open up. So the idea is that you can have photos or decoration on both of these, and then you can have it on both of these flaps as well. And this also has a nice, I think this was a 1/2 inch little gusset in there as well, so that does let it stand up a little bit. And then you do also have the pocket in here. Now I realize this is all white, but certainly when we start decorating it, you're gonna see all of these lovely portions. And then just moving to the bottom, we do have another fold here, putting it back together. You know, these two pieces come in. What she had in her video was a panel across here which had magnets as well to kind of keep these pieces straight and together. It sort of sits like that when it has it straight, so it's very even. So maybe when the magnets turn up, that's something that I can add to this, or just do it on the next one, but we're going to leave it as is for the moment, and then of course just coming back together. So super easy to create. I've created this one using some 300 GSM cardstock, and I used A3 for this just because I had it to hand, and I thought I would just give it a go. But I'm gonna make my next one using A4 cardstock, because this can be created just with A4 cardstock here. So super easy. I think you're gonna need about 4 pieces, but we shall see when we get to cutting and scoring. But I'm hoping you're gonna be able to get this out of 4 pieces. The cardstock I'm gonna be using is the Crafter's Companion Multipurpose 300 GSM cardstock, just because I want this to be nice and sturdy, but we are going to be adding papers and things like this as well. Also, if you want to create this in a coloured cardstock, you could absolutely do that and matte and lay it on there as well. So that was just a little walk around this prototype, but let's get into cutting and scoring and popping our little mini album together. So the first thing we're going to do is all of our cutting. Now I'm using my big Crafter's Companion guillotine. What you will need is a larger size trimmer or guillotine, whatever it is that you have got, because we are cutting 11.5 and then we are cutting 9 inches as well. So you will want one that's at least extends to that length. So we're going to cut our main piece first of all. So this again is just normal A4 cardstock. We're just going to trim this down to be 11.5 inches. So I want to make sure I get this right up and cut nicely. So this is going to be 11.5, so you really are just cutting off you know, the tiniest amount of that piece, and then we're going to turn it the other way and we're going to trim this down from 8.25 to 8 inches, because then the pattern paper we've got is 8 inches and we know then it's going to fit in our book. So that's our back piece, so I'm going to pop that to one side for the moment. Then I'm going to take another piece and we're going to create the bottom extension pocket, which is this panel here. So for this piece here, we're going to have 8.25 by 9, so we're going to leave the width exactly how it is. Then we are going to rotate it, and along the longer side we're going to trim this down to 9 inches. So that is going to be our bottom extension pocket. Next, we're going to do our 2 side flaps, which are these ones here. So you're going to need 2 of these, and we're going to trim this to 5 7/8 by 9 inches. And then we're going to cut the same again, so 5 7/8 by 9 inches. So we're going to use one of these scrap strips that we've got as our offcuts, and this is 2 1/4. So this is going to make quite a shallow pocket, but let's just trim this down to make it 2 1/4. So again, we're just taking off a very small amount. And then we're going to cut this to 8 3/4. And there we have our inside pocket. So now we've got all of our pieces cut down. What we're going to do now is do all of our scoring. So I have got my small EK Tools scoreboard, but I've also got the scoreboard that's on my large Crafter's Companion guillotine. You will need something larger because some of these we are going to be scoring up to 9 inches and sizes like that. So either if you don't have a larger scoring tool, then you can just measure and score it that way, but you know, just use what it is that you have got. So we're going to start off by scoring our inside pocket. So we're going to first of all, along the 2 1/4, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Now if I just bring this up, you can see that this is going to come off the board slightly, so all I'm going to do to get around that is I'm just going to flip it, and then I'm going to score from the top again, and it is going to line up. Then next we're going to rotate it to the long end, and we're going to score again at 1/2 inch from both sides, and this is going to create a super easy pocket. So while we're here, we're just going to cut the corners, because these are going to be our tabs. So we're just going to trim diagonally right across, because you've got this square here, and we're going to go right across, and it's going to take the bulk out of those corners. So that is our pocket. So we can pop that to one side. Next, we're going to do the inside flaps here. So we're going to pop this in along the 9 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. We're going to score at 1 inch, and then we're going to score at 5 inches. And then we're going to do the same again. So these inside flaps here, there is going to be a small amount of trimming down once we've got it in, and it will just depend on how your paper is scored and folded as to how much you need to take off. So we're going to go with just our easy measurements to begin with, and then we'll cut it down as we need to. So again, at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 5 inches for that piece. Now we're going to go with our bottom extension pocket. So we'll pop this one in. Now along our 9-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch at both ends. So again, it doesn't quite reach, so I'm just going to flip that one over. And then we're going to rotate it and do 1/2 inch from the other side as well. And then flip it just to get that bottom piece. Then we're going to rotate it, and then along the 8 1/4 inch side, we're going to score at 2 1/4 inches. And this is going to make that bottom pocket for us. Again, it doesn't quite reach, so I'm going to flip it over and then just come back from the top. So that's all the scoring that we're going to do for this one at the moment. So while we're here, we are going to do a little bit of trimming on this bottom extension pocket. Hopefully my lighting is okay. Obviously it's quite dark in here. It is in the evening, and this is a white cardstock. But what we've got here is our 2 1/4 inches at the bottom, and then we have our 1/2 inch tabs on either side. So in this bottom portion that we've got down here, we are going to just trim on a diagonal, and we're going to be cutting all of this piece away. Let me make sure you can see. So we're going to be cutting all of this piece away. So we're creating a tab down here at the bottom, and we're going to do the same again just on that side there. And what I'm going to do is bring in my guillotine. You can use scissors for this if you want to, but I am going to cut away that flap carefully, and then I'm also taking that score line with it as well. So we're going to flip it over and just do the same thing again. Then you'll be left with a piece that looks like this. So we're going to be creating our pocket from the bottom there. So let's pop that to one side. And then lastly, this is our main flap piece. So with this one, I'm actually going to do just a little bit of scoring on my larger scoreboard. So let's bring this one in. So for this, I'm going to have to score right to left, because obviously 1 inch starts at this end. But what I'm actually going to do is just come straight over here, and I'm going to score at 8 inches. I'm going to do just a little bit of a mark because I'm missing that side of the scoreboard. So I'm going to do 8 inches and 9 inches, and I'm just going to do those little notches there. Then I'm going to bring my smaller scoreboard in and then add in the others that we need. So I will recap that again. So we've got our 2 little score marks down here, but starting from this side, we're going to score our first mark at 1 1/4 inch. Then we're going to go 2 inches. And then we're going to go 8 inches and then 9 inches. So I can see that my little 2 notches are here. So what I'm going to do is just turn it over. And I'm just going to line it up. So basically you are, from this side, you can score it at 2.5. If you want to just turn the cardstock over, if you've got a smaller scoreboard, and then we're going to do 3.5. So you're just creating that 1 inch gusset here. So just to recap for this main piece here, you're going to score at 1 1/4, 2 inches, 8 inches, and then 9 inches. So the one thing that Meme did in her video is with the flap, which is this piece here, she rounded the corners to make sure that she didn't mix them up. Now, I do like the design of the rounded corners, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. If you don't want the rounded corners on your flap, you don't have to do that, but it just also helps then to remember which side is the flap. So now I've got all of our pieces done, cut and scored, we can go ahead and just start folding and burnishing them. So take your time just to make sure that you are getting these folded nice and evenly. So for your main piece, you should have something that looks like this. This is the main body, and then you have your flap here. So now for the 2 side flaps that we have got. So now we've got all of these pieces cut and scored and burnished nicely, we can assemble our mini album here. So don't forget as well, there will be in the description box down below details of the pieces and where you're cutting and scoring, just in case maybe I didn't make it quite as clear for you. So do check that out if you want to recreate this. So to begin with, the first thing we're going to do is attach our bottom extension pocket onto our main panel here. So when you open your main flap up, this 1 1/4 inch tab down here, this is going to be the piece where you're going to put your glue to then attach your extension pocket on here. But with this piece, because we did cut away those score lines as well, it does mean that our pocket, our main piece, is just slightly too short. So what I'm going to do is just bring this back, and I'm just going to take the tiniest amount off this piece here. So the reason why I've chosen to trim this down at this point after the cutting and scoring is because then I can do the exact measurement to the piece that I need it to be, but also then so I don't have to mess around too much with odd measurements. Everything is easy to cut down and to score. I'd rather than just kind of eyeball a little amount that I need to take off. Of course, if you want to adapt this and you want to have the exact sizes at the time of cutting, you can do that. I just prefer to do it this way so I have nice easy numbers to score and trim at. So now, as I said, this 1 1/4 inch flap we've got here, we're going to attach this either front or back onto our bottom extending pocket. So the easiest way to do this, because I'm going to have this on the inside, is I'm going to flip it over. So this is the outside. We're also going to flip over our pocket as well. And I'm just going to add glue to this piece here. So you can use liquid glue like I am here. You can use red liner tape. You could use normal double-sided tape. I'm using liquid glue here just so we have a little bit of wiggle room, but also then as well, it means that this is going to dry completely solid. It's not going to have any stickiness left over by any double-sided tape. And what I'm doing is just button it right up against our score mark there. I'm going to make sure this is nice and lined up and really well stuck together. So this is the inside, and don't worry, you're not going to see this flap because we are going to cover this. You're going to see just a little bit on the outside, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. But again, you can decide whether you want that to be on the back or on the inside of your book. So now we can go ahead and add glue to our tabs here. Again, either liquid glue or tape or red liner tape here. But the one tip that I did pick up about using liquid glue for things like your tabs from May's video is, again, like I said, because then the glue is going to completely dry. So whenever you put anything into this pocket here, it's not going to accidentally catch on any double-sided tape because that's not going to dry, it's going to stay sticky. Whereas for this, with the liquid glue, it is going to dry. So I'm just making sure that I got that nicely stuck down there. And you could leave it here if you wanted to. So if we just close this up. So the reason why you've got all of this thickness on the inside is then to add more bulk into this. And of course then with those side flaps. If you don't want to add the side flaps, you could make your gussets here smaller and then it won't sort of take up too much. You could adjust it so it's more like that, but because we're adding the side flaps, it means then we can get a lot of bulk in here. We can fit a lot of things into this mini album and it's going to be able to hold it. So the next things we're going to add in are our side pieces. So these are going to be flaps that are going to open up to add even more space into this to be able to fill it up. So this piece here was the 6 inches and it's fitting into this square here. So again, if I bring it down, hopefully the lighting is okay. So you've got your flap, you've got your gusset, and then you have this large panel here, and that is where this piece is going to glue into. So the one thing you need to do to begin with is just to make sure that this is going to fit in there, but Also, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to lift this up both sides so that it doesn't prevent it from closing properly, and this doesn't. If you find that this piece, your inside flap, is slightly too large, then just trim a little bit off the length of it here so it'll fit in there perfectly. But this one, as it is, will fit perfectly. So I'm going to open up this piece here, so this flap. So this first 1/2 inch tab we've got here is where we're going to add our glue. And the easiest way I found is just to tuck over that flap there, and we're going to butt it up right against that edge in the center of that panel, and you can use then the rest of it as well to make sure that it is nice and straight. And again, we want it to be right on that edge, so we can lift it just to make sure it's nice and flush. And then we can apply some pressure. You can use your bone folder here just to make sure we get that nice and stuck down. So you can see that is then going to help with that side piece as well. And we can fold that up, and that's going to sit in there. Now we're going to turn it around, and we're just going to do the exact same thing on this side. Again, on the first 1/2 inch tab here, we're going to add our glue. I'm going to fold that piece over. What I'm going to do is take out our flap, and again, to make this as even as possible, I'm going to line that up with the flap that we've already got in there, so we can make sure these sit flush together. So make sure they're nice and even. Make sure it's buttered up again right to that outside edge. And then we can burnish this piece again. And don't worry, these pieces are all going to be hidden as well under our patterned paper. So the last thing we've got to do is just to add our pocket to the inside. So this again is let's bring it up, is a shorter pocket than what we've got here, but it just means you've got lots of space in here then to add photos and to tuck different bits and pieces in. So once again, we're going to add that liquid glue. So let's center that again. We're going to butt that right into the bottom, and what I'm actually using is these 2 flaps here, which we've just stuck down. I'm just using those as the bottom guide. So I'm just making sure I've got this in. I'm using that as my bottom guide to stick this down. And we know that this bottom piece then is going to sit up nicely. So again, let's just use our bone folder just to make sure that that is stuck down very well, because we don't want this piece to come up. Again, use that red liner tape if you want to make sure that that is not going anywhere, but once this glue has dried, it really isn't. And then that is the basic book put together. If we fold it all up like so, we've got our front, the flap, open up, you've got your bottom pocket here, you've got spaces in your 2 flaps, and then you've got your pocket in there as well. So that was how you create this lovely little mini album. I am going to split this into 2 videos, just because I don't want this video to be too long then with the decorations. So the next video you're going to see is me decorating this box, but also then because I want to give this away, I am going to ask you, if you want to be in with a chance to win this, is to leave a comment in the comment section of this particular video, and then we can reveal the winner in the next video. So this is going to be decorated with winter gnomes from the Paper Boutique range. So we've got lots of little bits and pieces to use up to be able to create this, and you can use this yourself for Christmas this year. You can gift this, whatever it is that you want to do, but it is going to be Christmas themed, and I think it's just going to be so beautiful once we have finished it. So as I said, leave a comment to let me know that you want to be entered, you know, whether it's just enter me in the competition or something to do with this video. Let me know if you are going to have a go at creating one of these as well. I'd absolutely love to know who has a go at creating one one of these. Don't forget, in the description box down below you'll find some written measurements and where to score, things like that, instructions down there, and you'll be able to create these. But of course, just go back and rewatch this video. So that's going to be it for this video. So yeah, join me in the next one where we are going to decorate this lovely mini album. If you aren't currently subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell next to it so you're aware of when I upload my next video. It will send you a notification. If you like this video, if you got anything from it, whether it's pure enjoyment or, you know, whether you're going to have a go at creating one of these yourselves, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does help to support my channel. And that's going to be it for this video, so we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and happy crafting.